Good afternoon, Anna and Lisa. Thank you both for joining me today. My name is Ayshama Rodney. I'm a student social worker in training. I want to start by letting you know that this is a role play session for educational purposes, not a real therapy session. Everything discussed here is confidential within this learning setting, and participation is entirely voluntary. Do I have your consent to continue?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. My goal today is to create a safe space where you can express yourself openly, listen to each other, and explore the pattern that affects your relationship. If at any point you feel uncomfortable, please let me know. Okay? To start, I'd like each of you to share one positive memory of your relationship, something that reminds you of why the relationship, the strong bond between you matters.
I remember when Lisa was in high school and had that dance practice. She was nervous. I stayed up with her all night. I stayed up with her all night helping her practice. She nailed it the next day. I was proud.
I remember that too. And when Anna graduated, I was screaming the loudest in the crowd. She was always the one who pushed me to do better.
That's wonderful. Even though there's tension existing right now, we can see a strong foundation of love and support between you guys. Holding on to that will be very important as we delve a little bit further in our conversation later. The purpose of today's session is to explore the emotional patterns that shape your conflicts. Instead of focusing on who is right or wrong, we'll look at how each of you respond when conflict arises between you both. The goal is understanding and not judging. Does that feel manageable for both of you?
Yes, that sounds fair.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Great. Anna, could you start by explaining what's been difficult for you lately?
Honestly, I feel betrayed.
Mm.
Lisa started seeing someone I used to date, a guy I talked to her about when we were close. She knew how hurt I was after that relationship ended, and when I found out, I felt like she just didn't care.
Mm. Lisa, what do you understand from what Anna just said?
Ah, I didn't set out to hurt her. I genuinely liked him. They'd been over for more than a year and he reached out to me. I thought it was okay because Anna had moved on. I realized now that I underestimated her feelings.
Hmm. It seems that betrayal for Anna comes not only from the dating situation, but also from a sense that her sister didn't protect the emotional bond between you both. Anna, is that right?
Yes, we used to tell each other everything. I just feel like she crossed an unspoken line.
Mm. And Lisa, you sound torn between your feelings for this person and the loyalty towards your sister.
Exactly. I feel guilty, but I also feel like Anna never listens to my side. She freezes me out. I've texted her, called her, nothing.
So one of the patterns we see here is withdrawal and pursuit. Anna retreats when hurt. Lisa tries to reconnect but becomes frustrated when the door closes. Bowen called this a pursuer distancer. Does distancer cycle? Does that sound a bit familiar to you both?
Yes, that's accurate. I do shut down.
And I push harder, which makes it worse.
Mm. So, in the Bowenian therapy, we often explore family pattern across generation through something called a genogram. So, let's think back to how emotions were handled in your family growing up? How did your parents deal with disagreement?
Our dad would go silent. He'd stay in his workshop for days after a fight.
Mm.
And mom would chase after him, asking him to talk. She hated tension and always said, let's just move on.
Mm, that's insightful. Those patterns often pass though. Anna, you may have learned from your father that silence equals safety. And Lisa, you may have learned from your mother that fixing things quickly keeps the peace. When these two coping styles collide, misunderstandings tend to grow.
I never thought of it like that. But yes, it's like dad's voice comes out of me.
And I sound just like mom. I guess we are replaying their arguments in our own way.
Exactly. Exactly. Recognizing that helps you both see the conflict as a part of a system, not a personal flaw. When families understand the system, they can choose new way to respond. So, let's practice differentiation, which means expressing your feelings clearly while staying calm and connected. Use I statement rather than using you statement. So let's take a try, Anna.
Thinking. I feel hurt and replaced when I see you with someone I once cared deeply about. It makes me question our closeness.
That's excellent. Honest, yet not attacking. Lisa, can you respond with your own I statement?
I feel sad that my actions made you feel that way. I wasn't trying to replace you. I thought I could handle both relationships separately, but I can see now that it affected you more than I realized.
Great. Good. What's happening in your body as you hear each other speak in that way? Anna?
I actually feel calmer. It's easier to listen when she's not defending herself.
And I feel relieved, like I can finally say sorry without it turning into a fight.
So in the Bowenian therapy, that's the essence of change, reducing emotional reactivity. When each of you manage your own emotions, the family system begin to balance itself. So sometimes when two family members experience tension, a third person becomes a part of the emotional triangle, perhaps other siblings, a parent, or even the boyfriend in this case. Has anyone else been drawn into this conflict that you guys are having?
Well, our mom, definitely. She calls me and says, don't be so hard on your sister. That just makes me angrier.
Lisa?
And then mom calls me and says, why can't you just apologize again? It makes me feel like I'm the problem.
Mm, that's a classic triangle. Mom anxiety about her daughters. Conflict keeps tension alive. Part of differentiation means stepping out of that triangle, acknowledging her concerns but not letting her emotions direct yours. Anna?
So basically, I can love mom, but still set boundaries.
Exactly. You can appreciate her care without taking on her anxiety, don't you think? But before we close, I'd like each of you to share one strength you've noticed in each other today.
Lisa, you're honest and brave. You could have avoided this conversation, but you showed up.
Thanks. Anna, you're strong and protective. Even when you're angry, I know it's because you care.
That's beautiful. Holding on to those truths can guide your healing. Conflict doesn't erase love. It's just a challenge. It just challenges you to communicate it differently. For this coming week, I'd like each of you to write a short reflection letter to your sister, focusing on what you value in the relationship and one boundary you'd like respected. You don't have to read it aloud. Just bring it to the next session. Thank you both for your openness today. As a student social worker, I appreciate your willingness to engage deeply. You've shown courage and insight, and that's the foundation for rebuilding trust. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.